He's a selfish, rat-like individual.
People watch Hasan because they already agree with him. It's the same thing as me.
My normalization of progressive values.
Right. My normalization is about all of the good things, and his normalization is about all of the bad things. Right?
Most of the movers and shakers do not know who any of us are, myself included, and luckily, not Asmongold.
We must never allow these fascists to take away our voice.
Okay. The Hassan-Asmongold dichotomy is fascinating. The left's biggest streamer has a poli-sci degree and does real activism. The right's is a guy who played Warcraft and lives in rotten animal flesh who has something to say, basically Jesus to them. You take the blue pill and you wake up knowing that experts have everything under control. You take the red pill and you see how deep the Mountain Dew stained moldy rabbit hole goes. Hasan and Asmongold are not a political dichotomy, but a cultural dichotomy. What do I mean by that? Consider Hasan and Sam Hyde. When it comes to Israel and Palestine, these two are actually very politically aligned. Both of them support Palestine to some degree. Both of them are highly critical of Israel, the IDF. You might even say they're both anti-Semitic. And yet, Hasan and Sam Hyde are mortal enemies.
Oh, you know it, lad. You know that, Hassan Piker! I'm coming to kill you!
You got some weird fucking deadbeat loser comedian who has completely fucking lost all of its importance on the world.
There's not many people who watch MDE and go to Sam Hyde shows that are gonna be regularly watching Hasan and taking his political opinions seriously. Why? Because they are on opposite sides of the cultural spectrum. They're speaking to completely different groups of people and they're conducting themselves in a completely different way. And I think a similar schism exists between Hasan, one of the top most popular streamers, and Asmongold, an even more popular streamer. Let's start with Hasan. He started his career on the backing of the Young Turks, his uncle's leftist news media organization. He did the Dude Bro Show, or whatever that was, Guy Show, this like Spike TV media personality through arguably misogynistic, low-hanging fruit content.
Start talking to this girl, it finally leads to hooking up, and you're bold enough to grab an ass cheek and then maybe even get some hand play downstairs.
He started streaming on Twitch. He networked his way through people like Destiny and other political streamers. He grinded his way to the top of that political niche, offering his bombastic, controversial opinions, always going to the left of whatever issue there was. Asmongold, on the other hand, his career started through World of Warcraft. He was a gamer for many years. He would upload to YouTube. Eventually he started streaming, grinding away to the top of the Warcraft streamer niche. And for many years, he would sit in his backyard on his account, Zach Rar, offering his opinions on different political issues, news stories, generally whatever is on his mind. The word industry plant gets thrown around a lot. What that really means is someone who is supported by the establishment, by corporations. This is often done with musicians who get their songs on the radio and get them played on the mainstream. And I don't think it's a stretch to say that Hasan, as a streamer, as a political commentator, is being propped up and supported by the legacy media, by news outlets, certainly left-leaning ones. I don't think Hasan is thinking about the guy in his room sitting there gaming when he's rattling off these different talking points and covering these news stories. I think he's covering things to push an agenda, to push a narrative of being leftist or being pro this or pro that. You could say that he's speaking to a demographic, whereas Asmongold is speaking to the average gamer. And look, Asmongold is biased and he will push certain beliefs that he has to some extent, but again, he doesn't have this pressure of being backed by the media. He doesn't have this strong political ideology that Hasan is at least portraying himself as having. I've said this before and I will reiterate it until the day I die. Anybody who makes a career out of being a political commentator, whether they're left-wing or right-wing, is a propagandist. Why? Because they're pushing an agenda, they're rooting for a side, and they're constantly in the headspace of this political language, which by its very nature is deceptive. Look, I don't know if you guys realized it, but the world doesn't run on politicians making decisions or even political ideologies, as you may be led to believe. It runs on cold, hard data. Economics, logistics, power. These are the things that run the world when it comes to the political sphere. And a lot of what you see on TV, a lot of the politicians you think are running things, they're just figureheads. They are literally actors on behalf of super PACs, military interests, companies, lobbyists, the list goes on and on. So when you compare someone like Hasan to Asmongold, and you bring up the fact that Hasan has a political science degree and he does real activism, but that doesn't make him an honest actor, and that doesn't make him an intelligent or interesting thinker. Look, anyone with the amount of money and influence Hasan has can stage a press conference with firefighters or organize a rally where he espouses things like, we have to fight fascism and we have to unite.
None of us are free until all of us are free. So, and I want to end with that and say...
And that might sound empowering in the same way that a politician speaking on any issue using generic rallying cries and calls to action sounds impressive to people. But just like any politician, it's a bunch of empty platitudes. And look, I'll go hard on Asmongold too. You could say at worst he's this caveman who's stumbling around and occasionally says stupid things, but at least he's looking for the light at the end of the tunnel. And again, you need to look no further than the track record of both Hasan and Asmongold to determine this. Hasan comes from a political network that is ostensibly leftist, the Young Turks, which by the way is the name of the political organization that slaughtered 1.5 million Armenians, Greeks, and Assyrians. And Asmongold played World of Warcraft and sat in his backyard, shared his thoughts on different things, met different people, and now he's here talking to 50,000 live viewers. I'm not saying he's a genius or that he has everything figured out, but I don't think he professes to, and he doesn't portray himself as that. Whereas Hasan portrays himself as this expert, as if he's talking down to people. He's the new class of politician, of political pundit, who's talking down to you, the average person, because he has it all figured out and his ideology is the right way and everyone who disagrees is wrong. That's the angle he's coming at it from. Maybe that's why all these legacy media outlets are constantly writing puff pieces supporting him, and they're trying to push him onto wider audiences. It's funny that this tweet compares Asmongold to Jesus because, well, Jesus was a man of the people. He hung out with the tax collectors and prostitutes, the disheveled and the shunned. He didn't come wearing robes of silk and gold. He came as a servant, and yet he spoke the truth. Now, I'm not saying Asmongold is Jesus, but hanging out with Hasan would be like talking to a brick wall, and hanging out with Asmongold would probably be like hanging out with an old gaming buddy. This has been Glink Think. See you guys on the next Shed Talk. Peace.